My name is Andrew Sweeney, and along with my good friends Owen Cox and Eskil Avalon, I'm hosting an educational gathering on Maniphesto Core, a European men's network. We call this project the Maniphesto Media Academy. Maniphesto Media Academy, aka MMA, is a virtual one-room schoolhouse, an alternative learning platform for those who want to take an intellectual and spiritual deep dive. It is a weekly study group and lecture series where we try to make sense of the present apocalyptic times. At MMA, we will celebrate creative content, think critically about the existing paradigm, and create a lively learning community. Education is in crisis today. More than ever, we need convivial spaces for real learning, free from cynical corporate demands, a top-heavy administration, and the extreme political correctness which haunts the present academic environment. As a university professor for some years, I feel that now it is time for us to collectively reinvent education for the future and rediscover its original meaning and purpose. In this spirit, Maniphesto Media Academy is offering a creative space for free thinking and learning. So what exactly will we do at Maniphesto Media Academy? To begin with, we will study the intellectual history of media. We will look at great media theorists like Marshall McLuhan and philosophers like René Girard. Furthermore, we will talk about the Jordan Peterson phenomenon and Peterson's contribution, as well as the parallel educational universe of contemporary YouTube educators. We will discuss what John Vervaeke has called the meaning crisis and what Alexander Bard describes as the pornification and attentionalism of the internet age. Just like Neo in the first Matrix movie, we will ask ourselves profound existential questions. How do we know what is true and what is real? Should we take the red pill of radical truth or the blue pill of comfortable illusion? Or is there another option? What exactly is the Matrix? How do we go beyond nihilism after what Nietzsche has called the death of God and Baudrillard called the desert of the real? Are we living in a simulacrum? What kind of risks are we willing to take to know the truth of our lives? Together, we will go deep into the rabbit hole of philosophical and contemporary issues such as these. The weekly meetings will be structured somewhat like a university course. There will be short lectures, breakout rooms, debates, and lively discussions. There will also be the possibility of engaging in media projects, of doing hands-on practical work, of creating podcasts and videos, of writing blogs and essays, and becoming our own content makers. I should also add that there are some amazing philosophers in our network who will sometimes drop by. People like Alexander Bard, Jonathan Pajot, Cadell Lass, and many other special guests. This is a great opportunity to be involved in a convivial learning community and to converse with contemporary thought leaders. So now I'd like to talk a bit about the background and history of this project. In 2016, while Donald Trump and Brexit were in the news, professor and clinical psychologist Jordan Peterson became outrageously famous through his Psychology 101 classes and his provocative and fiery lectures. Peterson was a different kind of educator and was perhaps the first 21st century intellectual superstar. More importantly, his challenging videos revealed that millions of people are hungry for long-form and meaningful content, and that a new Gutenberg revolution was taking place on YouTube. While Peterson was subject to fan adoration by some, he was attacked and demonized relentlessly by the mainstream media. The attempt to cancel Peterson just made him stronger. Through taking an ethical stand that could have ruined his career, he arguably showed the world an alternative to a cynical media landscape based on marketing and clickbait and a blasé postmodern academia. Peterson brought online a new sense of heroicism that wasn't sugar-coated and inspired young men especially to read important literature like Sigmund Freud, Carl Jung, and Fyodor Dostoevsky. Furthermore, he caused many of the new atheists to re-examine the meaning of religion and myth in general. What was interesting about Jordan Peterson was not only his ideas, but the fact that he was the first of his kind. He represents a kind of watershed moment in culture. In a post-Peterson era, many other nuanced thinkers have appeared on the scene. Some of my favorites include John Vervaeke, a cognitive scientist and philosopher who works tirelessly to promote dialogue and deep discussion. Jonathan Pageau, a traditionalist and icon artist who has amazing insights into symbolic narrative in religion and fiction. Alexander Bard, who promotes continental philosophy and tries to bring back grand narratives. All of these thinkers would disagree rather radically with each other in many ways, but what is evident in their works is what the Greeks called logos, or a spirit of truthful investigation. Today, many of the most vital thinkers of our times have begun to speak outside the censorious universities and on new media platforms. At Maniphesto Media Academy, we are not afraid to talk about the heretics of what Jordan Hall has called the Blue Church. The Blue Church is a metaphor for legacy broadcast media, with its gated narratives and limited bandwidth. Jordan Hall has also spoken about a red religion, which is the dangerous world of new media on YouTube, podcasts, and in informal social media networks. The dialectic between these two worlds will be a central theme and concern of the course. Since the invention of television and radio, as Marshall McLuhan has pointed out, most education takes place outside the classroom. How much more true is this in the internet age? The question is, how do we rediscover and reinvent education in light of new media and new technologies and in a global village when time and distance have collapsed in the infinite now of instantaneous internet connections? How do we learn in this noisy new environment and in a time of information warfare and chaos where we are vulnerable to memes and so easily hypnotized by shallow ideologies? Once education was about scarcity or having a lack of information and needing to get it from the experts. Today it is about too much information or a crisis of teacherly authority, to quote Zach Stein. To sum up, we need to be brave and rediscover the original meaning of education, which was inscribed in the entrance to the Temple of Apollo in Delphi. Know thyself. Self-knowledge is a profound aspect of education, which may have been forgotten of late. So now a bit about our team. I am a university professor at Sciences Po in Paris, France. I'm also a coach and mentor and an editor at Parallax Magazine, where I host 2 popular podcasts and a blog. My partner in crime is Owen Cox, who hosts Technosocial Podcast and is part of a new breed of young creators turning away from traditional academic and media careers in the wake of the internet revolution. Eskil Avalon runs the Danish YouTube channel BroTube, producing videos for boys and young men. He also facilitates modern rites of passage for teenage boys in Denmark. A final note about men's work and why we are doing this in that context. Much of men's work is about self-development, or trying to navigate men's relationships, process men's emotion, deal with men's psychological issues, and become better men in general. I love men's work and have seen it benefit many people. But I've also noticed something is missing in many men's circles, and that is an emphasis on study, contemplation, debate, and the philosophical dialogue you find at the heart of a good humanities education. Education was once about not just getting a diploma, but learning to read, debate, think, and write. It should be a profound existential activity about wisdom and knowledge, not just about getting a job. In men's work, we have found that men today are lacking community, brotherhood, and focus. And education may be one of the keys to healing and rediscovering positive masculinity for the 21st century. In this age of excess, shifting paradigms, noise, and ideological possession, we hope to educate and empower intelligent men and to create an educational community in what Alexander Bard has called a desexualized space. In desexualized spaces, learning will become less about flirtation and competition and more about sincere learning. As in a traditional monastery, a desexualized environment can create an atmosphere of real brotherhood and intimacy between men, away from the sexual marketplace. Of course, this is not a dogmatic project, but an experiment in learning, and we hope that empowering men will inspire women to do the same or similar projects. In any case, please join us for lectures, breakout room discussions, media creation labs, and all kinds of politically incorrect and meaningful fun.